The vast chamber of the Galactic Council stretched upward into darkness, its ceiling lost among holographic stars that reflected the territories of 1,000 species. Ambassador Marcus Rivera stood alone on the circular platform, the single representative of humanity amid the most powerful gathering in the known universe. Sweat trickled down his back beneath the formal diplomatic uniform, but his face remained composed, betraying none of the awe he felt. Around him, rising in concentric rings, sat the representatives of the Galactic Council, beings of every imaginable form. Some resembled insects with compound eyes that caught the light in rainbow patterns. Others were gaseous entities contained in hovering mechanical shells. Many were roughly humanoid, though with skin colors spanning the visible spectrum and beyond. All watched Earth's first ambassador with calculating eyes, tentacles, or sensory organs for which humans had no name. The human petition for associate membership has been received, announced High Arbiter Voss, a mantis-like being whose chitinous exoskeleton gleamed with ceremonial markings. His voice, translated through the chamber's systems, echoed with authority. The Council acknowledges humanity's recent achievements in faster-than-light travel and the establishment of colonies within your home system. Marcus nodded respectfully. After 2 centuries of struggling to reach the stars, humanity had finally developed viable FTL technology just 15 years ago. Their expansion had been cautious, 3 small outposts on habitable worlds within 20 light-years of Earth. Nothing compared to the vast civilizations represented here. The Council has questions before deliberation begins, continued Voss, mandibles clicking between words. Admiral Krell of the Taurian Dominion will lead the inquiry. A heavy-set reptilian rose from the second tier. Admiral Krell's scaled face appeared on massive screens throughout the chamber, his slitted yellow eyes narrowing as he regarded Marcus. Humanity claims to be a peaceful species seeking cultural and scientific exchange, Krell began, his deep voice rumbling through the chamber. Yet our historical databases contain troubling inconsistencies regarding your kind. Marcus maintained his diplomatic smile, though confusion flickered across his features. Inconsistencies, Admiral? Indeed. Krell gestured, and the screens changed to display images of massive orbital structures, half buried in the dust of a dead world. These ruins were discovered on planet XT-447 in the Orion sector. They bear weapon signatures and design elements that are unmistakably human in origin. Murmurs rippled through the assembly as close-up images appeared, showing strange symbols etched into metal surfaces, symbols that resembled ancient human script. That's impossible, Marcus said, forgetting protocol in his surprise. Humanity has only been spacefaring for 3 centuries. Those ruins appear to be thousands of years old. 15,000 by our dating methods, Krell confirmed, eyes never leaving Marcus, which presents us with a mystery. Either your species has visited the stars, before and forgotten, or you are deliberately concealing your true history from this council. The chamber erupted in voices as representatives debated among themselves. Marcus stood frozen, mind racing. Nothing in Earth's recorded history suggested they had ever reached the stars before the 22nd century. Ambassador, called a melodious voice, cutting through the noise. A blue-skinned female with luminous eyes stood. I am Representative Lyra of the Praxian Accord. If I may, what is humanity's earliest recorded civilization? Marcus cleared his throat, grateful for the seemingly simpler question. Mesopotamia, approximately 6,000 years ago. Before that, we have archaeological evidence of hunter-gatherer societies but no advanced civilization. And your species has no genetic memory? No ancestral records predating this period? Lyra pressed. None that would suggest interstellar travel, Marcus replied, increasingly uncomfortable. High Arbiter Voss raised a clawed appendage for silence. The evidence suggests otherwise, Ambassador. The ruins contain technological signatures that match certain aspects of your current development path. The probability of coincidental evolution is astronomically low. The chamber darkened as new images appeared. Enormous warships in formation, bearing markings similar to those found in the ruins. The footage was grainy, clearly ancient. This archival recording was sealed in our deepest vaults, Voss stated. It dates from what we call the Dark Era, 20,000 cycles ago, when a devastating war nearly destroyed all civilization in this sector of the galaxy. Marcus stared at the massive vessels. Though alien in design, Something about their configuration struck him as oddly familiar, like déjà vu. "The Council has a theory, Ambassador," Admiral Krell said, leaning forward. "We believe humanity once possessed an interstellar empire of considerable military power. Something catastrophic occurred, perhaps civil war, perhaps a conflict with outside forces, resulting in your retreat to Earth and a collective forgetting of your past." That's preposterous," Marcus stammered, though a chill ran down his spine. "We would have evidence, artifacts." "Unless the forgetting was deliberate," interrupted another council member. This one a crystalline entity whose voice resonated like struck glass. "There are technologies capable of suppressing species memory, rewriting genetic code to ensure certain knowledge remains dormant for generations." Marcus struggled to process these claims. "Why would we do such a thing to ourselves?" The High Arbiter's compound eyes reflected the starlight. "That, Ambassador, is what troubles this council most. What power or threat could compel an entire species to erase its own history? And more importantly, what would happen if that dormant knowledge were to suddenly reawaken?" Before Marcus could respond, emergency alerts blared throughout the chamber. Representatives looked around in confusion as their personal communication devices activated simultaneously. The High Arbiter received an urgent transmission, his compound eyes widening as he absorbed the information. The chamber fell silent, all attention focused on Voss. "The quarantine fleet deployed near your solar system has detected an anomalous energy signature," Voss announced, voice tight with tension. "Something is awakening in the orbit of your 7th planet." "Quarantine fleet?" Marcus echoed, anger flaring. "You've been monitoring Earth?" The screens shifted to show Neptune's rings, where a massive shape was emerging from the ice, a dreadnought of impossible proportions, its hull bearing ancient script that resembled early human languages. "What is that?" Marcus whispered, transfixed by the image. "That, Ambassador," Admiral Krell said grimly, "appears to be a warship of the first human empire, and it's powering up its systems for the first time in 15 millennia. The council erupted into chaos. Some representatives called for immediate military intervention, others demanded evacuation of nearby systems. Through it all, Marcus stood stunned, watching as the ancient vessel, apparently built by his own species, slowly awakened, shedding the ice of ages. A message scrolled across the screens as the ship's communication systems activated. The symbols were unlike any modern human language, yet Marcus found he could almost understand them, as though some buried part of his mind recognized what his conscious self could not. "The council must convene an emergency session," Voss declared, rising to his full height. "Ambassador Rivera, you will remain under protective custody until we determine humanity's involvement in this development." "This is outrageous," Marcus protested, as security drones moved to surround his platform. "Earth knows nothing about this ship. We deserve answers as much as you do. For the safety of all civilized species, containment protocols are now in effect for the Sol system," Voss announced, ignoring Marcus's objections. "No vessels may approach or leave Earth until this threat is assessed." As guards escorted Marcus from the chamber, he caught a final glimpse of the screens. The ancient warship had fully emerged from Neptune's rings, its massive form dwarfing the council vessels that cautiously approached it. Whatever humanity once was, whatever power they once wielded among the stars, that long-forgotten legacy was awakening. And the galaxy trembled. Admiral Eleanor Reyes stood on the shuttle's bridge as it approached the massive vessel emerging from Neptune's rings. Through the view screen, she could see council ships maintaining a cautious distance, their weapon systems powered but not yet targeting. "Status report," she demanded, addressing the mixed team of military personnel and scientists who had been scrambled to intercept the ancient ship before the council could claim it. "The council blockade is holding position at 1,000,000 kilometers, Lieutenant Diaz reported from Tactical. "They're scanning the vessel but haven't attempted contact." Dr. Avery Jackson, Earth's leading xenoarchaeologist, hadn't looked up from his instruments since they'd entered Neptune's orbit. "The energy readings are off the charts, Admiral. Whatever power source that ship uses, it's nothing like our current technology." The ancient warship dominated the view screen, a massive arrowhead shape nearly 15 kilometers long. Its dark hull absorbed rather than reflected light, making it appear like a void against the stars. Along its surface, lines of blue energy pulsed rhythmically, growing brighter as systems continued to activate. "Any response to our hails?" Reyes asked. Communications Officer Wei shook her head. "Nothing on any frequency. But there's something strange. The ship is emitting radiation in a pattern that matches human brainwave activity. It's almost like it's thinking." "That's impossible," Reyes began, but stopped as the shuttle's instruments suddenly flickered. A gentle pull tugged at the vessel as a tractor beam engaged, drawing them toward an opening bay on the ancient ship's side. "We're being pulled in," Diaz announced unnecessarily, fingers dancing across controls that no longer responded. "Should I attempt to break free?" Reyes considered their options. The shuttle's engines were no match for the tractor beam, and firing weapons might provoke a response from either the ancient vessel or the council ships watching from a distance. "Hold position," she ordered. "Let it bring us in. This may be our only chance to board before the council intervenes." The shuttle slid into the cavernous bay, artificial gravity capturing them as massive doors sealed behind them. Emergency lights activated automatically, revealing a hangar that could have housed hundreds of vessels their size. "Atmosphere analysis?" Reyes demanded as they prepared to disembark. "Oxygen-nitrogen mix," Dr. Jackson reported, surprise evident in his voice. "Slightly higher oxygen content than Earth standard, but perfectly breathable. Temperature is 19 degrees Celsius. It's as if the ship was designed for human occupancy, or made adjustments for us upon detection," Reyes said grimly. "Stay alert. We don't know what we're dealing with." The team of 12 emerged from the shuttle into the vast hangar, weapons ready. The ship's interior was unlike anything in modern human design. Sleek surfaces of a material that resembled obsidian, but felt warm to the touch. Lines of blue energy ran through the walls, pulsing in patterns that seemed almost organic. "This way," Dr. Jackson said suddenly, pointing to a corridor where floor lights had activated, forming a path deeper into the ship. "I think it's guiding us." "It could be leading us into a trap," Lieutenant Diaz warned. "We didn't come all this way to sit in the hangar," Reyes decided. "We follow the lights but stay alert." The corridors seemed to extend endlessly, occasionally opening into vast chambers whose purpose they could only guess at. Throughout their journey, the ship guided them with lighting that activated just ahead of their position. "Admiral," Dr. Jackson called, stopping before a wall covered in symbols. "These markings, they're similar to Proto-Indo-European script but far more complex. Some elements resemble Sumerian cuneiform." "Can you read any of it?" Reyes asked. "Not exactly, but..." Jackson ran his hand over the surface, and to everyone's shock, the symbols began to shift, transforming into modern English before their eyes. "Command bridge access. Genetic verification required." "It's adapting to us," Jackson whispered in awe. "The ship is learning our language in real time." Reyes approached the panel, which now displayed a simple handprint outline. With only a moment's hesitation, she pressed her palm against it. Warmth spread through her hand as light scanned her from fingertips to wrist. Genetic verification confirmed. Human command authority recognized. Access granted. The wall slid open, revealing the bridge, a vast semicircular chamber dominated by a transparent viewport that showed Neptune's blue expanse. Control stations ringed the perimeter, their displays dark until the team entered. As they crossed the threshold, systems began activating one by one, holographic interfaces springing to life. "This is impossible," Wei breathed. "This ship is thousands of years old, yet the technology appears more advanced than anything we currently possess." At the center of the bridge stood what could only be the command chair, elevated on a platform and surrounded by control interfaces. As Reyes approached, the chair's systems activated, projecting a holographic display of the surrounding space, the council ship still maintaining their perimeter. Earth a tiny blue dot in the distance. "Admiral," called Diaz from a console he'd managed to activate. "I'm accessing what appears to be the ship's logs. There are references to something called the First Terran Empire that apparently controlled nearly half the galaxy." "That's absurd," Reyes replied. "We would remember something like that." "Not if something deliberately made us forget," Jackson said quietly, studying another active display. "These records indicate human civilization achieved interstellar travel over 20,000 years ago and established colonies across thousands of star systems." Reyes was about to respond when a synthesized voice spoke, startling everyone present. Genetic verification complete. Human command authority confirmed. Activating Virgil interface. A hologram materialized beside the command chair, a figure in a uniform unlike any in Earth's military history, its features composed of shifting blue light that approximated a human male. I am Virgil. Virtual Intelligence Guidance and Integrated Logistics. Commanding Artificial Intelligence of the Lazarus-class Dreadnought Remembrance, the figure announced. Current status, reactivation protocol complete. Primary systems online. Weapon systems at 62% capacity. Quantum drive functional. Reyes stepped forward. I am Admiral Eleanor Reyes of the United Earth Defense Force. Identify your original mission and purpose. The hologram regarded her with an expression that might have been curiosity. This vessel served as flagship of the 7th Fleet during the 3rd expansion. Primary mission parameters included defense of human colonial interests and enforcement of imperial law within assigned sectors. Imperial law? Reyes echoed. You're claiming humans once had an empire among the stars? Affirmative. The first Terran Empire spanned approximately 42% of this galaxy at its height, comprising over 12,000 inhabited systems. Virgil responded matter-of-factly. Current galactic political structure suggests significant regression from peak human influence. Jackson stepped forward, unable to contain himself. What happened to this empire? Why don't we remember any of this history? Virgil's holographic form flickered momentarily. Historical records indicate a catastrophic conflict approximately 15,146 standard years ago. Details are fragmented. Emergency protocols were enacted. This vessel was placed in dormant state, awaiting reactivation signals from authorized human command. What triggered your awakening now? Reyes asked. Detection of potential threat to human homeworld, Virgil replied. Galactic Council vessels have established quarantine formation around Earth. Threat assessment protocols activated automatically. Lieutenant Diaz looked up from his console with alarm. Admiral, the Council ships are moving into attack formation. They're charging weapons! On the holographic display, the Council vessels were indeed closing formation. Energy readings indicating weapon systems powering up to full capacity. They must have detected our presence aboard, Reyes realized. They're afraid we'll take control of the ship. Defensive systems online, Virgil announced calmly. Awaiting command authorization for countermeasures. Reyes hesitated. They knew nothing about this vessel's capabilities, nothing about the alleged empire it once served. Engaging the Council ships could trigger an interstellar incident, possibly even war. We need more information before we take any action, she decided. Virgil, can you access the Council communication networks? I need to understand what they know about this ship, and about humanity's past. Accessing Galactic Council secure networks, Virgil confirmed. The holographic display shifted, showing streams of data being intercepted and decoded. Interesting. Council historical archives contain extensive information about human civilization that does not match current human historical records. They've been keeping secrets from us. Jackson realized. They knew about our past all along. Correction, Virgil said. The Council appears to have been instrumental in implementing the suppression of human historical memory. Evidence suggests a multilateral agreement between surviving powers following the conflict that ended the First Terran Empire. The implications were staggering. The very organization Earth had been petitioning to join had apparently conspired to erase humanity's true history, to make them forget they had once been a dominant power among the stars. Admiral, Wei called urgently. We're receiving a transmission from Ambassador Rivera. He's being held on the Council station. Put him through, Reyes ordered. The Council emergency chamber throbbed with tension as nearly 200 representatives argued across the tiered seating. Ambassador Marcus Rivera remained under guard at the edge of the room, no longer a diplomat but a prisoner. His wrists bore energy restraints that would prevent him from leaving the designated area. High Arbiter Voss stood at the center platform, struggling to maintain order as panicked voices demanded everything from immediate military action to full-scale evacuation of neighboring systems. The human warship has activated defensive systems, but has not returned fire, Admiral Krell reported, scales flushing dark with anger. Our weapons cannot penetrate its shields. We have detected energy signatures suggesting its drive systems are powering up. If it reaches Earth, the awakening will accelerate. warned a crystalline being from the Scientific Council. The suppression field has already begun to degrade. Reports indicate humans on multiple colonies are experiencing memory fragments, dreams of stars and ancient battles. Marcus listened with growing disbelief. Everything he thought he knew about his species' history was apparently a fabrication, or rather a carefully constructed forgetting. "Ambassador," a quiet voice spoke near his elbow. He turned to find Representative Lyra, the blue-skinned Praxian who had slipped away from the main assembly to approach him. "This situation is not of your making. You deserve to know the truth." "Which is what?" Marcus asked bitterly. "Your species once controlled a third of the galaxy," Lyra said, keeping her voice low. "Your empire was not built through conquest but through exploration and alliance. Humans were respected, even revered by many species. Then why make us forget? Why keep us isolated?" Lyra's luminous eyes darted around, ensuring they weren't overheard. "Because of what happened during the Void War. When conventional weapons failed against the extra-dimensional entity your people called the Void, human scientists developed a process called ascension." "Ascension? A genetic awakening," Lyra explained. "It unlocked latent abilities in human DNA, what primitive cultures might call psychic powers. The ability to manipulate energy fields with thought alone, to communicate instantly across vast distances, to perceive events before they occurred." Marcus stared at her. "That's impossible." "The human volunteers who underwent the process turned the tide of the war," Lyra continued. "They saved the galaxy from consumption by the Void, but the process was unstable. Those who ascended began to lose their humanity. Their power grew beyond control or understanding. After the Void retreated, the Ascended became a new threat. Before Marcus could respond, alarms blared throughout the chamber. The central holographic display activated, showing the ancient human warship vanishing in a flash of blue light. "It's gone," exclaimed Admiral Krell. "Quantum displacement detected." "Where did it go?" A sensor officer replied with evident fear. "Trajectory analysis indicates it's heading for the Arcturus system, directly toward the Nexus." The chamber fell silent. The Arcturus Nexus was the largest military installation in known space, an artificial structure encircling the star itself, housing the combined fleets of the Council's member species. "Impossible," Krell breathed. "No vessel could penetrate the Nexus defenses." High Arbiter Voss turned to Marcus, compound eyes reflecting the emergency lights. "Your kind has awakened something they do not understand, Ambassador. If that vessel reaches the Arcturus Nexus, it could trigger a conflict that will consume the galaxy." Aboard the Remembrance, Admiral Reyes watched in awe as the quantum drive engaged, the starfield outside stretching into blue streaks as the vessel traversed distances that should have taken days in mere moments. "Arcturus system approach in 3 minutes, Virgil announced. "I have accessed the Lazarus Protocol archives. You requested information about humanity's past and the reason for the engineered amnesia." The holographic display shifted to show historical footage, humans in unfamiliar uniforms standing alongside alien allies. Some of the humans appeared normal, but others were different, their eyes glowing with internal light, their movements possessing an unsettling grace. "Approximately 15,000 years ago, the galaxy faced extinction from an entity known as the Void," Virgil explained. "Conventional weapons proved ineffective against its extra-dimensional nature. The Terran Empire, then the dominant power in this sector, developed the Ascension Protocol, a process that activated dormant genetic sequences in human DNA. The footage showed humans in medical chambers, their bodies suffused with energy as the process transformed them from within. The results were beyond all expectations," Virgil continued. "Enhanced humans demonstrated abilities previously thought impossible. Matter manipulation, energy projection, faster-than-light communication through thought alone. These abilities stemmed from human consciousness interacting directly with the quantum substrate of reality." Dr. Jackson leaned forward, mesmerized by the images. "Are you saying humans had some kind of latent psychic potential?" "Affirmative. All humans possess this potential, though it normally remains dormant. The Ascension Protocol forcibly activated these abilities, creating warriors capable of engaging the Void directly. The historical footage showed transformed humans tearing apart vast, shadowy structures with beams of energy projected from their hands, their eyes blazing like stars. The war was won, Virgil stated. The void retreated beyond the galactic barrier. But the process proved unstable. Enhanced humans continued to evolve, their powers growing beyond control. Many lost connection to their original personalities, becoming something no longer recognizable as human. Lieutenant Diaz swallowed audibly. They became monsters? Not precisely, Virgil corrected. They became something beyond the comprehension of unenhanced beings. Their perception of reality expanded beyond three-dimensional space. Their priorities and values shifted accordingly. The display showed conflicts erupting, glowing human figures battling conventional forces, tearing apart warships with thought alone, destroying entire fleets in moments. After 5 years of escalating conflict, the surviving powers developed a solution, Virgil continued. A genetic suppressor that would deactivate the abilities and remove all memory of them from the human population. Earth was hidden, its people returned to a pre-spacefaring state. Human colonies were evacuated or abandoned. The galaxy rebuilt, with humanity's role deliberately erased from history. But why is the suppressor failing now? Reyes asked. It was designed to degrade over time, Virgil replied. The awakening of this vessel appears to have accelerated the process. The suppressor relies on a quantum field that has been maintained by facilities hidden throughout human-inhabited space. Those facilities are shutting down. The implications were staggering. Are you saying humans all over Earth are going to develop these abilities? Reyes asked, horror and fascination mingling in her voice. The process will be gradual and inconsistent, Virgil answered. Some individuals demonstrate greater potential than others. But yes, humanity is awakening to its true nature. The ship emerged from quantum space at the edge of the Arcturus system. The view screen adjusted automatically, revealing an enormous structure encircling the star, a ring-shaped installation bristling with defensive platforms and docking bays for thousands of vessels. The Arcturus Nexus, Virgil identified. Currently the largest military installation in known space, housing approximately 40% of all Galactic Council combat vessels. Why have you brought us here? Reyes demanded. To access the historical archives stored within the Nexus Central Database, Virgil replied. The Council is withholding critical information about Earth's past and the current status of the threat that necessitated the Ascension Protocol. They'll attack the moment they detect us, Lieutenant Diaz warned, studying the tactical display. Incorrect, Virgil stated calmly. Defense systems targeting this vessel will be rendered non-functional. The ship was designed to operate in hostile territory. As if to demonstrate, Virgil initiated a scan of the Nexus. Throughout the massive installation, systems began failing. Defense platforms went dark. Communication networks collapsed. Sensor arrays shut down. The entire installation was being systematically disabled without the Remembrance firing a single weapon. How are you doing that? Dr. Jackson asked, astonished. Quantum interference patterns, Virgil explained. This vessel can project fields that disrupt electronic systems operating on specific frequencies. The technology was developed during the later stages of the Void War. On the tactical display, they watched as confusion spread throughout the Nexus. Ships attempted to launch but found docking clamps locked. Weapon systems powered up only to shut down immediately. I am accessing the secure archives, Virgil announced. Interesting. The Council has been monitoring Earth more closely than suspected. They have recorded numerous instances of humans demonstrating abilities consistent with early-stage ascension. The display showed footage from Earth, a child levitating toys in her bedroom, a man surviving a car crash that should have been fatal, a woman perceiving an earthquake minutes before instruments detected it. The suppression field is failing globally, Virgil confirmed. Approximately 0.02% of the human population is demonstrating measurable abilities. The percentage is increasing exponentially. Is this why they wanted to quarantine Earth? Reyes asked. They're afraid of what we might become. The Earth hung in space, a blue jewel wrapped in the artificial glow of orbital stations and defense platforms. From the Remembrance's command bridge, Admiral Reyes watched as strange auroras flickered across the planet's atmosphere, visible manifestations of the quantum disturbances affecting the human population below. Status report, she ordered, turning from the view screen. Council ships maintaining position at the system's edge, Lieutenant Diaz reported. They're not approaching, but they're not leaving either. Earth's communication networks are in disarray, added Communications Officer Wei. We're receiving thousands of distress calls. Hospitals are overwhelmed with people experiencing neurological events. Dr. Jackson looked up from the console where he'd been reviewing Virgil's data on the original Ascension protocol. It's happening too quickly. The suppressor field is collapsing faster than Virgil predicted. If we don't act soon, we could have millions of unstable ascended within days. Reyes had never faced a crisis of this magnitude. The fate of not just Earth but potentially the entire galaxy rested on decisions she would make in the next few hours. Virgil, you mentioned improved protocols for controlled ascension. What exactly does that mean? The AI's holographic form materialized beside her. The original Ascension protocol was implemented hastily, activating all dormant abilities simultaneously. This overwhelmed human neural architecture, leading to personality fragmentation in 78% of subjects. Later research developed targeted activation sequences, allowing gradual integration of abilities with existing consciousness structures. And these improved protocols? They were never implemented? Reyes asked. Correct. The war ended before field testing was complete. The decision to implement the suppressor field rendered further development unnecessary. Reyes paced the bridge, considering their options. Could we use the remembrance to broadcast a stabilizing field? Something to slow the process until we can implement these improved protocols? Theoretically possible, Virgil confirmed. This vessel possesses quantum field generators designed for large-scale energy manipulation. However, the field would only affect the immediate solar system. Human colonies beyond Sol would remain vulnerable. Dr. Jackson joined the conversation. What about the people already showing advanced symptoms? Some of the reports describe individuals manifesting abilities consistent with mid-stage ascension. Those individuals will require direct intervention, Virgil stated. The remembrance carries medical facilities designed for ascension management. However, capacity is limited to approximately 500 subjects simultaneously. Reyes made her decision. Begin generating the stabilizing field. Priority 1 is preventing mass uncontrolled ascension. Lieutenant Diaz, coordinate with Earth Defense Forces to identify and retrieve individuals showing the most advanced symptoms. And what about the Council? Wei asked quietly. They're implementing their Protocol Omega, whatever that is. We need more information, Reyes replied. Virgil, can you access Ambassador Rivera's location? We need his diplomatic expertise. Marcus Rivera had been moved from the council chamber to a secure holding area when the alarms began. Through the energy barrier of his cell, he watched council security forces rushing through corridors, their movements suggesting a station-wide emergency. His guards had abandoned their post minutes ago, apparently called to more pressing duties. The energy barrier remained active, however, leaving him trapped as events unfolded beyond his reach. Ambassador Rivera. The voice came from nowhere and everywhere at once. Marcus looked around, seeing no one. Who's speaking? He asked the empty room. I am Virgil, artificial intelligence of the human vessel Remembrance. I have accessed the station's communication systems to contact you. Admiral Reyes requests your assistance. I'm a little confined at the moment, Marcus replied dryly, gesturing to the energy barrier. That can be remedied. Please step back from the barrier. Marcus complied, and seconds later the energy field flickered and died. The door slid open, revealing an empty corridor. The station is in lockdown, Virgil informed him. Council forces are occupied with implementing Protocol Omega. You have approximately 12 minutes to reach Docking Bay 17, where a shuttle is being prepared for your extraction. What's Protocol Omega? Marcus asked, already moving toward the corridor. Based on intercepted communications, it appears to be a last resort measure designed to permanently suppress human genetic potential through targeted quantum disruption. If successful, it would render all humans incapable of accessing ascension abilities, but might also cause widespread neurological damage. Marcus navigated the corridors, following directional markers provided by Virgil through his personal communicator. The station was in chaos, with emergency protocols overriding normal security measures. The Council is willing to risk killing us rather than letting us access these abilities, Marcus realized. They're that afraid of what we might become. Their fear is not entirely unfounded, Virgil admitted. Uncontrolled ascension during the previous cycle led to significant destruction. However, their current approach fails to account for the returning threat that necessitated ascension in the first place. The void, Marcus said, remembering Lyra's words. Is it really coming back? Affirmative. Council deep space monitoring stations have detected anomalies consistent with early void incursion patterns. These findings have been classified at the highest security level, but the evidence is unambiguous. Marcus reached a junction where two corridors met. The way to the docking bay was clear, but he hesitated. Looking down the alternative path, Virgil, the Council archives, they would contain complete records of what really happened during the Void War, wouldn't they? Correct. The central archive chamber is located 3 levels below your current position. However, deviation from the extraction route is not advised. Station security protocols are resetting, and defensive systems may reactivate within minutes. Marcus made his decision. I need to see those records. Guide me to the archives. Ambassador, Admiral Reyes specifically requested, if we're going to fight this war again, we need to understand exactly what happened last time. Marcus interrupted. Not just the technical data, but the political decisions, the ethical considerations, the whole truth. After a moment's hesitation, Virgil provided new directions. Marcus moved quickly through the station, encountering surprisingly little resistance. Most of the Council forces appeared to be focused elsewhere, likely on implementing their Protocol Omega. The archive chamber was a vast circular room lined with quantum storage units. At its center stood a direct access terminal, a device designed to interface directly with the user's neural patterns, providing high-speed data transfer. The terminal requires Council authorization, Virgil warned as Marcus approached it. Can you override it? Attempting system breach. Council security protocols are substantial. This will require time. As Virgil worked to access the system, Marcus heard footsteps approaching. He ducked behind a data storage unit, watching as Representative Lyra entered the chamber. Accompanied by an elderly being Marcus recognized as High Elder Mox, one of the oldest living Council members. We don't have much time, Lyra was saying. Once they realize we've accessed the restricted archives, security will lock down this entire section. It must be done, Elder Mox replied, her ancient voice surprisingly strong. The Council has lost its way. They would rather risk genocide than admit their mistake. The pair approached the central terminal, apparently unaware of Marcus's presence. Elder Mox placed her hand on the interface and the system immediately activated, recognizing her highest level clearance. Download the Ascension Stabilization Protocols, Mox instructed, and the complete records of the Harmony Accords. The Harmony Accords? Lyra questioned. The true agreement between the surviving powers and the remaining stable ascended, Mox explained, not the sanitized version in the official records. The Council has violated its terms by implementing Protocol Omega. Marcus stepped from his hiding place, causing both aliens to whirl in surprise. Ambassador Rivera, Elder Mox acknowledged, showing no sign of alarm. I wondered if you might find your way here. You're helping humans, Marcus said, confused by this unexpected alliance. I am helping all sentient life in this galaxy, Mox corrected him. I was there, young one. During the Void War, during the Ascension. I saw both the horror and the wonder of what humans became. You're over 15,000 years old? Marcus asked incredulously. My species is long-lived and memory transfer between generations is perfect, Mox replied. I carry the experiences of my predecessor, who witnessed these events directly. The Council has forgotten the truth, that humanity's ascension, properly managed, was never the threat they believed it to be. The real threat was always the void, Lyra added, still working at the terminal, and it's returning. The Council would rather face extinction than risk humans regaining their power. Not all Council members agree with this course, Mox said. Many of us have been working in secret for centuries, preparing for the day when the suppressor field would fail and humanity would reawaken. The terminal chimed, indicating the data transfer was complete. Lyra removed a small crystal device, a quantum storage medium containing the downloaded information. We need to get this to your people. 3 months passed. Earth had changed irrevocably. From the observation deck of the Remembrance, Marcus Rivera watched his homeworld turning slowly below. The planet's atmosphere now shimmered with quantum energy patterns visible even to the unaided eye, the collective manifestation of millions of humans undergoing controlled ascension. Beautiful, isn't it? Admiral Reyes said, joining him at the viewport. Hard to believe this is what we once feared. The stabilization protocols had worked beyond their most optimistic projections. Using the Remembrance's quantum field generators, they had broadcast the carefully calibrated resonance patterns throughout the solar system, slowing the chaotic awakening and providing a framework for controlled development of abilities. "How are the outer colonies responding?" Marcus asked. "Better than expected. The protocols reached Alpha Centauri last week. The transition there is proceeding smoothly." Reyes smiled faintly. "It helps that we've had time to refine the process based on Earth's experience." Earth had become a laboratory for humanity's transformation. The first weeks had been chaotic, with thousands experiencing neural shock as dormant abilities activated too quickly. But as the stabilization field took effect, the process had slowed to manageable levels. Now nearly 40% of Earth's population showed some degree of ascension abilities. The manifestations varied widely: enhanced cognition, limited telekinesis, empathic sensitivity, accelerated healing. Only a small fraction, less than 1%, demonstrated the more profound abilities described in the historical records. "The council delegation has arrived," Virgil announced, materializing beside them. "They are being escorted to the conference chamber." "How many representatives?" Reyes asked. 17, including High Arbiter Voss and Admiral Krell. Elder Mox and Representative Lyra arrived separately and have requested to be seated with the Earth delegation. Marcus nodded. This meeting had been months in negotiation. After the failure of Protocol Omega, the Council had withdrawn to regroup, maintaining a quarantine around human-controlled space while they debated how to respond to humanity's reawakening. "Any update on the Void's approach?" Marcus asked as they walked toward the conference chamber. "The darkness has consumed 3 more star systems at the galactic rim," Virgil reported. "Current projections indicate first contact with populated Council space within 62 days. The conference chamber had been prepared with careful attention to diplomatic protocol. The circular table gave no position precedence over others, a deliberate choice to establish equality between human and Council representatives. Admiral Krell entered first, his scaled face unreadable as he took in the transformed humans before him. Marcus and Reyes, like most of the Earth delegation, showed subtle signs of early ascension, a certain luminosity to their eyes, an almost imperceptible glow beneath their skin when they moved. High Arbiter Voss followed, accompanied by representatives from the major Council species. Their body language betrayed a mixture of fear, curiosity, and reluctant respect. "Welcome aboard the Remembrance," Reyes greeted them formally. "We appreciate your willingness to meet on neutral ground." "A vessel of the First Terran Empire can hardly be considered neutral," Admiral Krell replied dryly. "Perhaps not," Marcus acknowledged, "but it offers security for all parties that no other location could provide." The meeting began with formal presentations. Dr. Jackson outlined the stabilization protocols and their successful implementation throughout human space. Representative Lyra detailed the approach of the Void and the Council's current defensive preparations, which all parties acknowledged would be insufficient. "We face extinction without cooperation," Elder Mox stated bluntly. "The Void consumed half the galaxy before it was driven back in the previous cycle. Our conventional forces cannot stand against it. And yet cooperation comes with its own risks," High Arbiter Voss countered. "Humanity is undergoing the very transformation that nearly destroyed civilization once before. Under very different circumstances," Reyes pointed out. "The controlled ascension process has yielded stable results. We're not becoming the beings you feared." "Not yet," Admiral Krell said ominously, "but the process continues to advance. Your most powerful individuals already demonstrate abilities beyond our comprehension. What happens when they evolve beyond your control?" Marcus had anticipated this concern. "We've implemented the governance framework described in the Harmony Accords. Those with advanced abilities are bound by strict protocols and oversight mechanisms. Protocols you created," Voss noted. "Overseen by your own kind. Forgive us if we find this insufficient reassurance." The debate continued for hours, circling the fundamental issue. The Council feared human power, while humanity feared extinction if that power was suppressed. Neither side could fully trust the other, yet neither could face the Void alone. As tensions mounted, Virgil suddenly interrupted. "Alert! Detecting quantum displacement at the edge of the solar system. Unknown vessel approaching." The conference room's display activated, showing a point of blue-white light expanding near the orbit of Pluto. From this quantum breach emerged a ship, or something ship-like, its form shifting and flowing like liquid metal, radiating energy patterns similar to those now visible in Earth's atmosphere, but vastly more intense. Vessel identification, Reyes demanded. Unknown configuration, Virgil replied. However, energy signature contains elements consistent with advanced ascension technology. They've returned, Elder Mox whispered, rising to her feet. Just as they promised. The strange vessel approached with impossible speed, crossing the solar system in moments. It took position near the Remembrance, its size comparable to the ancient dreadnought. We're being hailed, Virgil announced. The transmission format is unusual. It appears to be a direct neural interface request rather than conventional communication. Marcus and Reyes exchanged glances. A neural interface would allow direct mind-to-mind communication, a common ability among those with advanced ascension traits. I'll accept the interface, Marcus decided. Ambassador, we don't know what effect, Voss began, but Marcus had already closed his eyes, opening his mind to the contact. The connection formed instantly, a presence in his consciousness, alien yet familiar. Not words but pure concepts flowed into his mind, accompanied by emotions and memories not his own. When Marcus opened his eyes, they glowed with internal light. His voice, when he spoke, carried harmonic undertones that seemed to resonate with the structure of reality itself. They are the transcended, he said, the stable ascended who withdrew beyond the rim after the last war. They have been watching, waiting for the moment when humanity would remember its true nature. Why have they returned now? Elder Mox asked. The void approaches, Marcus replied, still channeling the communication. They come to fulfill their ancient promise to stand with us against the darkness. But they cannot fight for us. We must choose to stand with them to complete our ascension not in fear but in understanding. And become like them? Admiral Krell asked, gesturing toward the alien vessel. Beings that no longer even resemble humans? Marcus smiled. They are more human than you know, Admiral. They have simply embraced the full spectrum of what humanity can become. The neural connection deepened, and Marcus gasped as new information flooded his consciousness. The true nature of the void, the full potential of ascension, the path that lay before them. The void is not merely an enemy, he explained, struggling to translate the concepts into words. It is the absence of consciousness, the entropy that opposes life itself. It consumes not just matter and energy but possibility, the quantum potential for existence. And ascension? Reyes asked quietly. Is humanity's natural evolution, the ability to directly interact with the quantum substrate of reality, to shape possibility itself. Marcus turned to the council representatives. Your species all have this potential in some form, though it manifests differently. Humans were not special because we could ascend. We were special because we chose to do so deliberately, to face the void on its own terms. High Arbiter Voss leaned forward, compound eyes reflecting the strange light that now surrounded Marcus. If what you say is true, why did the previous ascension lead to such destruction? Why did stable humans withdraw beyond the rim? Because we were not ready, Marcus answered simply. We activated these abilities in desperation, without understanding their implications. Some of us became lost in our own power. Others recognized that humanity needed time to mature, to develop the wisdom to wield such abilities responsibly. And now? Admiral Krell asked skeptically. You believe humans are wiser now than they were 15,000 years ago? A new voice answered. Dr. Jackson, who had been silent throughout the exchange. His eyes now glowed with the same light as Marcus's. We've established contact with the transcended vessel, he said. They've shared their historical records. The difference between then and now is not just in the controlled ascension process, it's in our starting point. He gestured, and the room's display filled with images of ancient Earth, societies at war, resources depleted, environments destroyed. The First Terran Empire arose from a civilization already fracturing under its own weight, Jackson continued. When those humans ascended, they carried their divisions and conflicts into their new state of being. The images shifted, T.